Look at this map. With its solid coast-to-coast borders, the United States looks like a masterpiece of careful design, as if the outcome were inevitable from the start. In reality, this map is a patchwork of historical accidents, bad math, and bizarre impulses. It began with a massive navigational failure. Christopher Columbus sailed west to find a trade route to the spices of Asia, got completely lost, and stumbled into the Caribbean instead. That single botched voyage initiated a centuries-long chain reaction of geographic land grabs across the New World. Early explorers wanted an immediate payout. Spain and Portugal focused their energy on the gold-rich southern territories, leaving the northern half of the continent largely ignored. This massive oversight left North America vulnerable to European stragglers. As this map shows, the British eventually filled the void, slowly wedging 13 disparate settlements along the Atlantic coast. The foundations of the country were laid because the most powerful empire at the time was looking the other way. By 1763, Britain had won a massive war against France. To recoup the debt, they expected to simply tax the American colonies. This specific tax policy sparked an unintended colonial revolt that fractured the British Empire. Even after winning independence, the 13 colonies operated like failing independent nations. It took a last-minute constitution to finally bind them together. The creation of a centralized government was a desperate pivot to save a failing post-war experiment. In 1803, the young nation had a modest goal: buy the city of New Orleans to secure trade routes along the Mississippi. Over in Europe, Napoleon Bonaparte was preparing to fight Great Britain. He needed cash immediately and didn't care about his holdings in America. Napoleon shocked the Americans by offering to sell the entirety of the French territory for $15 million. With a booming population that was doubling every 20 years, the American footprint poured westward into this newly acquired land. Ultimately, control of the continent's interior was won through European wartime bankruptcy. Mexico initially invited American settlers into Texas to act as a buffer in their sparsely populated northern territory. Settlers quickly outnumbered the local population. They rebelled to form their own republic, and when they eventually joined the U.S., it triggered a direct war with Mexico. Winning that war snagged the entire West Coast map just as the country caught a miraculous lucky break. Right as California became American soil, prospectors struck gold, triggering a massive, sudden migration to the coast. This rapid expansion forced a reckoning over the economics of slavery, eventually tearing the map apart. The resulting Civil War ended in massive casualties and the abolition of slavery, leaving the nation reunified but scarred. Manifest Destiny succeeded through a mix of foreign policy manipulation, sheer geological luck, and devastating internal bloodshed. Well, expansion then entered a bizarre phase. Under the Guano Islands Act, the U.S. allowed citizens to conquer random Pacific islands purely to harvest bird droppings for fertilizer. In the north, Russia wanted to sell off the frozen, difficult-to-defend Alaskan territory before their rivals in Britain could seize it. The United States purchased this massive landmass for absolute pennies. A mysterious ship explosion in Cuba then shifted American interests from continental expansion toward global imperialism. The resulting war with Spain netted the U.S. new territories in Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. By 1900, the American empire had expanded via bird excrement, frozen clearance sales, and the unexpected spoils of a Cuban conflict. President Theodore Roosevelt needed to slice a canal through Central America to connect the two oceans. Colombia owned the land and explicitly refused the American deal. In response, the U.S. supported a separatist revolution to invent the new country of Panama, which then granted the rights to build these massive gates. This legally dubious maneuver allowed the Navy to project power across both hemispheres instantly. Return your attention to the complete modern map from the beginning of this story. We have to view it differently now. Look closer and the seams appear. A Russian fire sale in the north, a French war debt in the middle, and Spanish spoils in the south. History is never a neat, orderly story written by people who knew exactly what they were doing. Superpower status grew from an unmatched ability to harness chaos, rely on luck, and violently pivot whenever history made a mistake.